Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to work, cause my boss is a jerk, and I'm not even that paid. I need a change in my life, cause I don't feel alive, and there's nothing that makes me happy. Hold my beer for a minute, I'm about to quit my job, cashing in for a ticket. I'm going on a trip, and I don't plan to visit. I'm gonna stay there till I feel like I'm winning, and this is just the beginning. I need a big change, help me feel like living. I need a big swing, home runs I'm hitting, and I'll never look back, moving on till I get it all. And we all got dreams.
Welcome to another Rec to Resto episode. Next to me, I've got my brother-in-law, Michael. He's a boiler maker. I'm obviously a Sparky. We're going to have a bit of a weld off today using my new UNIMIG Razor Multi 230 4-in-1 welder. So this particular welder, you can MIG weld, you can TIG weld, and you can also arc weld, but it's an AC DC TIG, so hence the 4-in-1. We're going to start off doing some MIG work on some RHS. So we'll just go through a couple different welding techniques of how I do it, but also how Michael, being a Boilermaker, how he approached it. We're also going to do some TIG work on some stainless steel. I've just folded up a couple bits of stainless here so we can TIG these together and just make a dice. And finally, we've got some aluminium that we can do the same thing. So we can go through the TIG setup and how we can go about welding with this new welder. Follow along as we have a bit of a weld off. Got a bottle of MIG gas here, so this is just Argon Shield. I just get these ones from Bunnings, so you just pay a deposit on the bottle and then you're not paying rent or anything like that, so it's just a bit of a cheaper way of me to go about it because I don't use as much gas. Yeah. This is the regulator that comes with the welder, so you can set your pressure on here, so your litres per minute. It's pretty easy to put in, so it's just a matter of screwing it into the bottle. Tighten it up with the shifter. These UNIMIG ones come with a quick connect fitting on it. So if you come around the back of the welder, there's two ports on here. So one is for MIG gas and the other is for TIG. So because we're going to start on MIG, we can just plug it straight into this one. And that's it. Clips in. When you want to release it, just pull that collar back. So we've got our earth lead here. That just goes into the negative. And that will just earth onto the bench. Just over 3mm. Got some just little offcuts of box cut up. So these all have burrs and dags on them. So we'll just give these a quick hit with a grinder, clean all these sharp edges off. Also remove this paint. The cleaner you can make the metal before you weld it, the better weld you'll get.
Nice and clean, no sharp edges. Lovely.
If there's any little spots inside that you can't get with the grinder, you can just finish it off with a file.
So you can see on the end of that, because it's painted, that's the mill end, and different colour means different sizes. So that's just prepped for handling. It's not ready for welding yet because we've got paint to take off and you've got to prep it as well. So we'll just clean them up for now and then we'll get them all prepped for welding.
Just got these couple bits. Remove the paint around and I've just put a bit of a chamfer on them. Not much, just gives you better penetration. So these two will just weld together like this. Once they're on there, probably just weld this piece on top. So it's just a couple different welding techniques.
So when you do a prep, you want that angle to be roughly 30 degrees so that when you join them together, the total prep area is 60 degrees. I don't know why, that's just a standard thing for getting a good penetration weld.
Alright, I'll get this welder set up for the MIG welding that we're doing. So on here you can scroll through, it's got a MIG Smart Set. So I'm just going to enter that. We'll start off and we'll do a butt joint, enter. We're going to weld mild steel, and we're using MIG Shield gas, which is 80% argon, 20% CO2. And we've got 0.8 filler. And then we just hit enter. So down the bottom here it says our material thickness. So this is 3.2 mil, so we can just go up. We'll set it at 3 mil for a start, and we'll see how we go with that. It's as simple as that. If we want to fine tune the settings, we just hit this one over here, and then it shows our pre-flow gas, creep start, welding current, burn back, and also post flow. And then just to go back to the welding screen, you just hit that one again.
Good enough. It's only a test piece. Alrighty, see how this goes. So I started weaving because I could tell it's a little bit hot for the metal. So when you weave, you're preheating it, but you're still filling back what you've already welded, so it adds more wire to it. And yeah, it's turned out right. So with welding, you want a slightly convex weld. You don't want concave because it's obviously you're making the material thinner.
Good job.
So the good thing with MIG, you can weld in pretty much any position really. Going up is a little bit harder, but going down is really good. Really quick and easy, but you get slightly less penetration going down. But we'll see how we go.
Nice, Barry.
That's it.
Let's go. Hey. Yeah, this is my life, my strife, my right to fight. And this is my game to play, to claim up.
As you can see, leave a little bit of a gap. Why do we do that?
Get better penetration the whole way through. If it's butted up, it's got to burn the whole way through to get penetration. At least when it's open like this, it obviously leaves a gap for the weld to fill.
Lovely.
Might try a couple different techniques. So I'll try the weave technique on one of them, and then on the other side, I'll probably try just constant straight through.
Name old. I'm a bit nervous that I might screw everything up.
That's a bit flutter, but it's definitely gone through more.
Perfect. That's that bit there. Nice.
All right, I'll try the weave on this one.
I put the camera in the helmet, but it was still up, so I was like, oh dear, what happened here?
Got a bit too hot.
A little bit hot. That's alright. So how are you going to fix that?
I'm going to go back a bit on the settings and see how I go.
So which way are we weaving?
So this one I was going forwards and then a little bit sideways, forwards, a little bit sideways, forwards, a little bit, forwards, a little bit.
Nice. You still got a big hole.
I might fix that hole now. What up?
That'll do. We'll use that to do the endy bit.
Y'all want things, but what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be? And do you believe you can do anything? But what you gonna do for it? How you gonna move for it? What you gonna be?
Did you get any undercut? It's the hardest thing about welding that way. A little bit. Welded.
So when we prepped the metal, we were just using a normal flapper disc. I've also got these ceramics, so these are a 36 grit. If you want to take off a lot of metal quickly, these are really, really good. So I'm just taking it off until the weld's nice and flat. I don't want to take off too much metal, but yeah, within 30 seconds or whatever, that's just completely cleaned that up. And now, we can just do that on there like that. That's fillet, isn't it?
Yep. That'll be a 1F. I don't know why they call butt joints a G. Well, I don't know. If someone knows the reason, let us know in the comments.
Alright, we can change the settings in the welder quickly and we'll give this a crack. Instead of earthing through the bench, I can just earth the piece direct.
As long as you're earthing to actual metal, it doesn't do well on paint.
Yep.
So do you weave in the fillet?
Normally.
You do? How?
I just sort of go like a Z pattern.
Oh yeah.
How do you normally do it?
Well, depending how I feel on the day.
So that's no weave.
Nice. Yeah.
And that's just an up and down weave.
Cool. Yeah, an up and down weave. They look a bit more like dime stacked, which is a term you hear a lot.
Yeah. So that was no weave, that was just straight into it. And then that one was a little bit of a weave.
Yep.
And then we've got, that's a weave, and then that's no weave. A couple different techniques to practice.
Yep.
See, this is going to be pretty hot, so I'm not going to pick it up with my hands.
Right, so we saw Pocko do the straight weld and the up and down weave. This one I'm going to do a forwards and backwards weave, and then on the other side I'm going to do some circles, so you can see that pretty much doesn't matter what you do, as long as it's consistent you can make any weld look good. Not too bad. Yeah. Always try and make sure your nozzle's clean, because a dirty nozzle prevents your gas coming out and then you get porosity in your weld, and that's just not good. Looks like popcorn.
The other thing is, when you're welding out the shed, if you've got a little project on, always a good idea, wear long sleeves. I've welded in t-shirts numerous times, and you end up with this big flash burn the whole way up your arm. So yeah, and it's actually, once you get burnt, it's worse than sunburn. So yeah, if you're ever MIG welding, always put long sleeves on, protect the skin.
I have to send you a photo of where I was wearing short gloves like this, but my shirt was up here.
Yeah.
And bubbled.
Yeah.
Here we go. Cool.
Nice one.
With MIG welding, usually you push it a bit. You can hold it at 90, but not a lot of people know that you can actually pull it. You just get, it doesn't look as good. So I'll pull it here, and you can see what I mean. So if you have a look at that, it just makes the weld a lot higher, a lot lumpier. It's not as pretty. So if we compare, see how the weld's a little bit wider than that one? Ooh, porosity.
No, that's just where it earthed out on the table.
Oh, was it? Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so the weld's a bit wider. So that's the pull weld. See how it's a little bit skinnier this way and higher this way?
I've found that when I've tried this as well, it always starts off skinny.
Yeah.
And then by the time you get to the end, obviously you get more heat in it, and it ends up being a lot wider.
Yeah, so with pulling, your heat's going back to where it was. So obviously at the start, there's no heat, whereas pushing the weld like that, it's like preheating.
And you also, once you start, you build up until you've got a molten puddle, and then you start to travel.
Yep. Cool beans.
This one's done. We'll get set up and we'll move on to the next.
What are we doing now?
So when you go across the TIG, you've got to use a different gas. So this is pure argon. This is argon mixed with CO2. So if you have a look at the bottles, this one just has argon on it. This one has MIG gas. So when we're TIG welding, you only TIG weld with pure argon.
You can use helium.
It's a lot more expensive though.
Yeah. So when different gas bottles with different gases have a different colour. So this sort of grey colour, that's a CO2. So with the MIG gas, they use an argon mixed with CO2, and usually a black bottle is oxygen. I don't think that would have oxygen in it.
On the back of these welders, you've got, I showed you before, you've got the two ports. So one's dedicated MIG, one's dedicated TIG. So when you swap the bottles over, you just got to remember to swap the gas line over as well.
Nicely labelled.
So we'll set the TIG torch up now on the earth lead. So when you're TIG welding, it's actually the opposite polarity to when you MIG. So this cable here is the one that goes to the earth on the bench. So now this one goes in the positive. And now your TIG torch actually goes in the negative. So that one goes in there. And then you've just got a gas line until it clicks. And then just the control cable. So these control cables have actually got a dot on them, and that dot just faces the top. So instead of going down here and staring at it every single time, once you see that dot, you know that that's the top. Plug it in, twist it onto lock. And now we're ready just to enter some settings. So if we go to TIG Smart Set, it actually shows us here what polarity we need for the TIG as well. So it shows the handpiece is negative and the earth clamp is positive. So we'll start off, we'll go aluminium, enter. We'll start off butt joint. We've got a 2.4mm tungsten, and we've got 3mm material thickness. And you've only got one option for the gas with TIG, which is 100% argon. So that's giving us 100 amps. If we want to fine tune the settings here as well, we can just hit that one, and it shows us what our pre-flow gas is, AC balance, what our peak amps is, and also what our frequency is. So if we want to change this, it's just as easy as going into here and adjusting it as we need. Back to the welding interface. All right, I got the torch set up for some aluminium TIG welding. So first up, I've got a sharpened tungsten. I'm going to ball the tungsten. So to do that, I've just got a bit of copper I've got the welder turned right down, and I'll just go over the copper until I've got a bald end. As soon as that's done, it's ready for tacking up the workpiece. Can you just check the gas? I want about between 8 and 10. Yep. I'm not sure if you can see that on the video, but it's just balled the end of the tungsten. Before you weld aluminium, there's just a bit of prep work you need to do. So I've hit this with orbital just to get some of the scratches out. And I'm just going to go over it with a rag and some acetone, give it a good clean. As soon as it's cleaned up, then we're ready to go. So I'll do the pieces that I'm going to weld, but I'll also do the filler material as well. Just get rid of all of the oily residue. This is just normal acetone. You get it from Bunnings. So these pieces just have a little bit of a gap. So if I sit that hard down, or if it's sitting on the bench, there's a big gap. So I've just put some shims under it to space it up so that it takes that slack out. All right, I'll just get the corners tacked, get it all together, and then after I've got it tacked, then we can do some full passes. Dip the tungsten a bit, that's why it's gone black. Got a stainless steel wire brush here that I can just give this a bit of a clean up with. Looks like I'm going to have some pretty good gaps to weld, but I'll give it a try. The other cube that I made up is a lot tighter fit, but because I'm a nice guy, I left that one for Michael. Puts it a bit out of square, but at least it will be a little bit easier to weld. I'll just reverse the tungsten, so I'll just re-ball it. The gaps are definitely harder to fill. Tungsten's real dirty. Give it a quick clean and cool down a little bit, I think. Fill that one a heap because the gap was pretty big, but I think I'm getting better.
If you wanted to, bash those with a hammer.
I closed them up in the vise a little bit.
Oh.
Is that just 2, 3 left to go? Thank you. Just going to play around with a couple settings here. So this is on 100 Hertz. So I'm just going to bump that back down to 50 and I'll see the difference it makes. So the butt weld that I did in the middle, that was at 100 Hertz. So it gives you a lot more concentrated, smaller weld. And then these two out here are both at 50 Hertz. So that's at slightly higher current by a couple amps, and that one is actually exactly the same current as what I welded that one. So it's pretty cool seeing the difference it makes just playing around with the different settings. So this cube, as I was welding that, there was obviously, the fitment wasn't great, so the gaps were pretty big. So it's definitely easier to weld it when you've got a lot better fitment. So cosmetic welds is obviously better for that sort of stuff, but anything you want a bit of strength with, then I reckon that one there, like even with the cleaning action, that's probably the better one.
Yeah, that looks good.
Like if you can't glue this thing together, mate.
I reckon turn the hertz up for that. What did you weld that on?
100.
100.
So it's the same setting as that.
Yeah.
But I started at 100 amps and it was getting away from me, so I ended up going down to 80. So you should be right with that, just for tacking it.
With what? This, yeah. Cool. Righty. So as you heard, I'm a boilie. Mainly do structural steel stuff. And I haven't actually picked up a TIG welder in about 8 years, so this will be fun. See how we go. Hopefully I can beat the Sparky. So obviously the most important thing before welding is try and get your fitment as good as possible. Just makes the job a lot easier.
As you would have seen with this one, which the fitment was not great.
Right, all tacked up. Let's see how we go.
There you go.
Pretty happy with that.
Bloody beautiful. Those settings are alright.
Yeah, so I listened to what you said before about starting at the big gap and finishing at the little gap. Yeah. That works so good.
Yeah.
Oh, push that in there a bit.
It snuck up on you a bit.
Oh, because I was trying to do what I said before, where you try and feed more in at the end to stop that crater, but it's just like push the penetration into it.
Yeah. You might have to just let it cool down a little bit, because once it's heat soaked, then.
Yeah. But they're looking heaps better than that. I might win this one. Yeah, I'll let that cool down a bit. You see the fitment changes the weld, don't you?
It's like these couple here where the fitment was really good, like it gives you a nice weld, but the ones where you're trying to weld big gaps, yeah, it doesn't work too good.
Yep. Joys of welding.
Just to save a bit of welding, we've done it in 2 U's. If we had have done it in 6 separate sides, we probably could have got the fitment a lot better, but this is how we're doing it now.
And they're not for anything, so it doesn't matter.
No.
Welded. Yeah, not too bad for being without welding for 8 years. Well, welding that.
So we've finished the aluminium TIG work now, so we're going to go to stainless steel. So we'll go back to here, we'll go stainless, enter, we'll do a butt joint, and we're going to go with a 1.6mm tungsten here. And our material thickness is 2mm. Enter. So gas, same thing, 100% argon. And there we are. So it's giving us 53 amps. If I need to play around with this a bit, we can. So to start off with, when we're tacking, we can have it higher or lower, but it's as simple as that. So with our settings here, I normally give it a bit more post flow. So I'll just scroll through these. Post flow is set at 3 seconds at the moment, so I'll just go up to 6. Just to give it a bit more shielding once we've finished. Enter. And then to go back to the welding interface, it's just that one. Simple as that. So that's all set up there. So you can see the gas diffuser in there. With these bigger cups, you can have a lot more stick out as well. So if you have to weld in a corner where it's a lot harder to get, you can, general rule of thumb, the width of the cup is the length of the stick out you can have. Because the fitment's so good, I could probably get away with doing a fusion weld. No, I might even do it on pulse. We'll see how this goes. I'll do one side as a test, see how it goes. If I don't like it, then I'll change it. It's turned out pretty good. Probably go slightly more current and move a little bit quicker. Gonna go up on the gas a tiny bit just to get a little bit more coverage. Yeah, I might try a couple with some filler. Job done, we'll let that cool down. That's all turned out pretty good.
You did most of the fusion on that?
Yeah, because the fitment was so good.
Yeah.
I did have a couple spots where I used filler, just where there was a bit of a gap, but most of that...
Oh, tiny. Yeah, nice.
It's still on pulse, so it's up to you if you want to use
I'm
pulse
not-
to tap or...
I'm not a pulse man. Might need a hammer though. Boilermaker's favourite tool is a hammer. And everything's a hammer. Hammer. Hammer.
Loud noises!
Yeah, okay. I'm just gonna tack it how I normally would tack stuff. How did you get this tacked together? It's just so thin and fiddly.
I probably spent 2 or 3 minutes just figuring out which position I wanted to tack it in.
Yeah. Join. No, not joining. Try a different corner.
Why so shaky?
Oh, I can't get that to join. I just need to get one corner tacked nice, and I can fiddle with the rest of it. I just want that to stay like that.
Now leave it. Like that.
Oh, okay, alright. Oh, thank you. You left it on 4-stroke as well.
Do you want me to change it?
No, that's how I like it. I'm just surprised you left it there. Oh, that's better. Just join. Oh, why is it so hard?
Just playing around with this stuff, mate. You want to get back into it again?
Yeah, I missed my job. But I was never the best tigger in the workshop, or Winnie the Pooh for that matter. A bit average fitment there, but weldable. Cool, shall I just pump it out?
Go for it.
Good to go. There you go, done. Holy.
See how you lost your tungsten?
Yeah.
That makes a massive difference as well.
Yeah. That last one I did, was that one I think, is on 32 amps. I tried it on that 65 and it just blew through it.
Yeah, 65 is way too much.
Yeah.
I was on, I think, 80 amps on pulse, but that's only 35%.
Yeah.
So
that would have been handy.
all right, we've got through our little projects. So obviously started off with our mild steel. They both turned out pretty good.
Mine was better.
Michael definitely got me on that. So his was a bit neater. He's obviously wrapped the corners a bit nicer.
That's what I do for work.
I had a bit of a blow through, which I fixed. But all in all, the welder is great for doing all of these sort of things. So to be able to have one welder that's multi-purpose, that literally most projects you can think of in the shed you can get through, is an absolute bonus. So obviously we got that one done. We then went to a bit of aluminium. So we both put our cubes together. The one that I had, the fitment was pretty average. So the sides where we had good fitment, I didn't have to fill massive gaps, weren't too bad. It turned out pretty neat. Some of the ones where there was big holes that I had to fill, obviously they're nowhere near as neat, but it's stuck together. There's no holes in it. So considering this is only the third time that I've actually welded aluminium with the TIG, I think we both did pretty good considering.
I think we're pretty even really. Except that bit. Don't look at that.
After we did that, we both went on to the stainless, so that's the one that I put together. So the fitment on this one was pretty good, and most of it I could actually do with pulse and just do a fusion weld. There was a couple sides that I had a little gap that I've used filler on, but all in all, I'm pretty happy with how that's turned out.
Yeah, because I'm a boilie, I'm used to doing thicker stuff, so I didn't use pulse at all. So as you can tell, it's a lot more heat affected. It'll hold fine. It's just not as pretty.
So
who won?
I won the steel. I think we're pretty even with the alley, and you absolutely smashed me on the stainless.
So considering, I think, yeah, it was pretty even, but yeah.
There's nothing wrong with any of the welding. So that would pass any weld test, I think, and be fine.
But yeah, it was good fun. Bit of a challenge between the two of us. But yeah, if you want to see some more of this sort of content, let us know.
And grab yourselves a UNIMIG.
If you're in the market for a new welder for the shed, or even if you're doing it for work, I'd highly recommend the UNIMIG. Their service has been pretty good as well, so I needed to get an update for the welder after it came out, and they shipped out the USB with all the update for the welder free of charge. So thanks for watching this far. We appreciate the support. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it around, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks to Michael. You've been a good champ coming along. Give us a hand.
Enjoyed it. Good fun.
See you on the next one. It sounds like an angry bee. to